Hey guys, I hope you're all having a great day. Welcome back to a very exciting PUBG Mobile video that I think you guys are going to enjoy. Today we're going to be comparing and contrasting first person and third person modes for PUBG Mobile and answering the question, once and for all, which playstyle is better? Now before we actually get into this video, I need to give massive shoutouts to two fellow PUBG Mobile players, Smasher and Extreme Respawn. They have provided the background gameplay for this video, where I am going to be showing you both first person and third person gameplay from both of them. Now, I go to college, and with all of my schoolwork, I don't have a lot of time to make these videos, so I figured out a cool way to help smaller creators. If you would like to help out my channel while simultaneously getting a shout out from me in the beginning of my videos, resulting in your own channel growing larger, then check out the description down below. I'd like to feature different people for each video to help grow this community larger than what it already is. With that being said though, that's it. All you need to do is check out the description, but yeah, if you came here for the video and the video only, leave a like down below and let's just get into this. So, in the background, I've decided to show you guys the first-person gameplay first. Now, first-person gameplay is a little bit newer in PUBG Mobile. It existed a lot longer ago in regular PUBG, but in PUBG Mobile, it came around a couple of months after TPP was introduced into the original versions of this game. TPP is what we're familiar with a lot of the Battle Royale games, but first-person mode has provided a very different type of playstyle experience. Honestly, I would go as far to say that it is a little bit more hardcore and crude when you are playing first-person mode in PUBG Mobile. Now, when you are playing in TPP, and you guys might see this later on in this video, there are various things you can do to aid in your gameplay and to make it a little bit easier than some of the FPP gameplay that you will have later on in the future. With TPP, you can use this third person to your advantage. First off, you will have a much larger field of view, and you can see this right here comparing when you are driving in a vehicle to when you are actually out of your vehicle. When you are out of your vehicle, you will have a much narrower field of view, and because of this, you will have to turn around a lot more in order to see your surroundings. You will not be able to see all the way 180 degrees to the left and to the right, and because of this, with first person mode, you might get caught off guard by somebody who is either directly to your left or to your right. So when you're playing with first-person mode on, you're definitely going to have to be a lot more observant of your surroundings. Now, obviously, you have to be observant of your surroundings regardless, but you will have a much better chance of missing an enemy player when you are in first-person mode as opposed to third-person mode. You guys will see in this video, in third person, you can run right in the general direction of an enemy player. It'll be pretty easy to spot that enemy player. And one of the main reasons is because when you are looking at your character on your screen with third person mode, you will have an above character camera view. It's kind of like over the shoulder a little bit, but way back. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those videos where people have a GoPro mounted behind them, maybe when they're going down a ski slope or something else that's pretty steep. Now, that will greatly increase the amount of players you will see in matches that you go into when you have third-person mode. With first-person mode, you're a lot lower to the ground. And if you're ever to use prone, for example, or if you were to ever crouch, you will be directly at the level that you would be in real life if you were doing those sorts of movements. So, if you were to do this, then with first-person mode, you really have to listen. You have to be very, very careful. And this is where I go back to when I talked about that hardcore type of gameplay. You really need to listen out. With first-person mode, that is not a game mode that you play without any sort of audio. Maybe you could get away with playing 1 or 2 matches and maybe get a lucky win with third-person mode if you don't have any audio whatsoever. But it would almost be miraculous if you were able to win with first-person mode without any sort of audio whatsoever. So you definitely need to have a very different type of playstyle when comparing first-person mode and third-person mode. Another thing that I would like to mention that you guys will see later on, much more so with the third-person mode gameplay, is the little eye icon at the top right of your screen. You guys will see that here if you see the little running button to the next of the map. To the left of it, there's a little eye that's kind of faint, but you can still see that. If you've played PUBG Mobile much at all, you will know that that button allows you to basically change your field of view while you are still running in the same direction. It will lock your running direction, and then you can see around yourself. This is so crucial when you are playing PUBG Mobile. Not too many people use it for whatever reason, but it will help you, especially if you are doing something like looting or you're standing still for a second and you just want to be sure that no one is sneaking up behind you. However, the main difference between first-person mode and third-person mode is with third-person mode, you can see an entire 360-degree field of view around you, but with first-person mode, you will not. Now, as you can see right here in this video, as you can see, the camera is much higher above the player with third-person mode as opposed to first-person mode in that match that I just showed you guys earlier. Because of this, you will be able to see over maybe a flat terrain, like a field, a lot easier with third-person mode as opposed to first-person mode. It definitely gives you a much different type of gameplay experience. Now, the only downside is also, that will go the same with every other person that is in the match. Now, if you disregard the bots that are just terrible in and of themselves, and you actually look at the real players that you face, they also can be using these things to their advantages. If you were in third-person mode, again, you can hide behind a wall, you can wait for somebody to come up behind you, you could have an SMG or a shotgun, and then pop out without them ever even knowing you were there. Now, if we were to talk about the actual gun mechanics in first-person versus third-person mode, you guys might see that the muzzle flash is a lot more apparent in first-person mode. Again, going back to that very hardcore feeling that you get when you play in first-person. Now, if you were to scope in with both modes regardless, then you will go into that first-person scoped-in view. But if you were to try to fire full auto at somebody without scoping or using your iron sights at all, you will notice it's a little bit easier with third person because the gun takes up a lot less of your screen and the muzzle flash will be smaller in that respect. So in that respect, if you were to have the spray and pray type of method when you are playing PUBG Mobile, it's going to be a little bit easier to play with third-person mode. Now, with different devices, you might find that specifically with third-person mode, it actually will run a little bit better than first-person mode. Now, this might work vice versa with other devices, but I have found more frequently than not, people are able to play with third-person mode better than with first-person mode. I guess it's because it has been around for longer, it's more optimized, and that probably will change later on in the future, which is why this is not a major difference between the two. But if you do have a pretty low-end device, you might be able to play on third-person mode a little bit better than on first-person mode. So what it really comes down to is which game mode is more familiar to you personally. You have to go back to other shooting games you've played in the past, specifically mobile shooting games. If you're somebody who's played games like Bullet Force and Critical Ops extensively, you've played in a first-person environment, and if you were to go transition over to first-person in PUBG Mobile, you would be a lot more familiar with that. But if you're somebody who's transitioning over from classic rules of survival to Fortnite Mobile and PUBG Mobile, then yeah, you're probably somebody who's going to be a little bit more familiar with the third-person mode that we are seeing right here. More than anything, if you really were to see which one is better, it's up to you. If you are somebody who's more familiar with that specific game mode, then you're going to do better with that game mode in PUBG Mobile. Take a look at some of the games you've played in the past, and if those games have a pretty obvious trend as to either being third-person or first-person mode, yeah, you're probably going to see the same with PUBG Mobile. But if we were to talk about the field of view, again, it's going to be a lot narrower with first-person mode. And if you were to talk about the eye icon, it's going to be, again, a lot more narrower with first-person mode. First-person mode is going to be for those true hardcore players in PUBG. Now, by no means am I saying you're not a hardcore player if you play in third person, because that is the most classic of game modes. But if you're somebody who's wanting a more real-life experience with PUBG Mobile, then first-person mode is the way to go. Now, I'm not saying by any means PUBG Mobile is a realistic game, but if you're looking for a more realistic experience, go with first-person mode. It's the way to go. So, which game mode is better? Honestly, it's up to you. I personally like first-person mode more, but if you're somebody that wants a more traditional Battle Royale type of gameplay, third person is the way to go. Let me know down below in the comments which one you like better. But with that, that's it. Thank you all for staying until the end. Make sure to leave a like down below if you did enjoy, and I'll see you all in the next episode.